Answer your questions as always. We'll start with Jordan and then go to Chip.
Mike, I know going into Rupp's a little bit different, but you look at the success you guys have had on the road so far this season. Just what have you learned about your team with how they've handled playing on the road?
We've got a pretty good ability to move on to the next play after we hit some adversity. A pretty connected team, which has allowed us to overcome those adversities, whether they be a tough call, an offensive drought, defensive deficiency, or what have you. Our guys have done a good job of bouncing back from negative plays and staying together.
I wanted to ask too, real quick, just what stands out about Antonio Reeves and what he's been able to do for Kentucky so far?
He's gotten a lot better, in his time there. He's expanded his game. His role has gotten bigger, of course. He's having a heck of a season.
Yeah, Coach, I don't know what your overall ledger is at Rupp, but, not many people go in there and win.
Yeah, tough.
Yeah, it's a tough place to win. You guys got off to a good start there last year. I think you're up 11 in the first half or something like that. But, what do you feel like is inherently different in this team that would allow you to pull something like this off?
Well, continuing to stay the course in terms of our mentality on the road, we're going to have to catch some breaks, of course, and make some shots, and the ball's got to bounce our way. And, we've got to stay out of foul trouble. Good things are going to have to happen for us, of course, especially early. We'd like to hang in there as long as possible and see what happens down the stretch. Hopefully you're within striking distance late in the game against a team who I think's got a chance to potentially win the whole thing. They're fantastic, and in an environment too that's as tough a place to play in as anywhere in college basketball.
For the record, Mike White has 2 wins in Rupp Arena. Jack Leo followed by no pressure, Mike. Anthony Dasher.
Just curious, specifically, are there any guys matchup wise that you see defensively need to just have a particularly great game against an offense? It's obviously as up as it is.
Against these guys, the way they're playing downhill, the way they share it, the way the ball moves, it's everybody. I mean, if we've got a weak link defensively in this game, we'll be exposed immediately. This is an electric offense. This is as good offense as any offense in the country. Speed, shooting, 40 from 3 as a team, if I'm not mistaken, 50 from the field, 2-to-1 assist turnover ratio as a team, 1 through 5 pass it, share it. So we've got to be as good as we've been defensively all year, probably better to have a chance, starting with our transition defense, of course. Their initial push is off the charts.
Hey, Mike, obvious question here, but where would you guys be if it was not for the offensive support you're getting from your bench so far this season?
We'd be sitting here with a few less wins for sure. Our bench has been a big strength of ours. On certain nights, our bench has probably outplayed the guys that started the game. And, we've got a lot of different skill sets. We've got guys that like one another and, again, are connected. And our guys have a pretty good understanding that on an acceptance that on any given night, it could be a different guy's night, to excel, to maybe earn a few more minutes that night based on productivity. So we've got to continue and embrace that moving forward because we've got to play to that. That's a strength of ours.
Kind of a quick follow-up on that. I know Sonny has started pretty much since he's been back healthy. Is it a case of him and just that's where he's more comfortable? Other guys are more comfortable coming off the bench? It's kind of what's been the situation with him.
I think if you ask each one of our guys where they're more comfortable, they'd all say starting, right? Everybody wants to start. For the most part, there's some outliers there, of course, but we're in a pretty good rhythm and groove, and I like the way that we start from a from a leadership standpoint, with him out there, he makes winning plays. He settles us in offensively and defensively. Not that we're open to other guys starting, and that's not the only position that's
Sure.
up in the air. We'll continue to evaluate it game to game.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll go to Palmer Toms.
Yeah, Mike, can you hear me?
Yep.
Just wanted to, I saw a couple of guys put out on social media the other night after the game, road dogs. Wanted to see if that was something that y'all had talked about as a team, having that kind of mentality, and whether you thought that there might be any sort of heightened awareness and knowing that there's a smaller margin for error going on the road and into these hostile environments.
Yeah, definitely. The second part of your question is something that has been addressed and not only in the past, but in the past 24 hours as we head into this one, which is the toughest test, that we've had to this point, of course, and presents its own unique challenges playing in Rupp. All these places are a little bit different, and we're excited about the opportunity. But the road dog mantra, that's coming from within the locker room. That's our guys, and if they're with that, I'm with it. Our guys have been really good, of course, and that's the way they term it. Great, but most importantly, again, we've just played with some mental toughness. Starting again in Tallahassee when we're down 17 late in the game, and that'll be a game that we continue to reference all year, and hope that we can continue to build upon that on the road.
Okay, I believe that is, Miles Garrett is on. I'm sorry. Any questions from Miles?
Nope, all good for me, Mike. Thank you.
Okay, good deal. Thanks, everybody.
Hey,
Appreciate it.
I got one more if you don't mind. Coach, I'm sure it's not lost on you that you guys started 3-1 last year with a road win too. I mean, it's obviously about sustaining in this league. So I just wonder if you can just look down the road a little bit. I know you very much can't focus on anything but this one in front of you, but at the same time, the SEC is the SEC this year, and it's a whole, and you got to take it, I guess, in bites.
That's it. I mean, it's a brutal league. This team has nothing to do with last year's team. It's just we're a totally different team, totally different mentality, experiences to this point, playing differently. I shouldn't say it has nothing to do with last year's team, because we do have 4 returners, and those guys have grown and they've gotten better. But with us, the whole big picture thing, we just don't do it. I don't do it. I don't. If you do it in this league, you're in trouble, right? You're in major trouble. We got to try to be as competitive as possible tomorrow. Hopefully, we're again within striking distance down the stretch, and then we'll move on to the next one, and then we'll move on to the following one. Today we were focused on having a great practice. That's it. We were okay yesterday. We were pretty good today. It got better. We'll watch some film tonight, but it's one moment at a time, one game, one practice. And I don't mean to dodge. I'm never trying to do that with you guys. It's honestly what we talk about. And maybe, looking back on last year's team, maybe we got out of that a little bit, not from what I was saying, but maybe the big picture got a little bit too big for us. And maybe a couple of those losses we didn't handle the way that we should have. Because whether it's a win or a loss in this league, you have to move on quickly, because that next opponent now in 2024 is going to be a real opponent in the SEC.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Mike.